Mediation Restorative Services is a conflict resolution agency that's been here in Muskegon. We also service Oceana, Mason, and Manistee, though, too. We've been around for 28 years.
Mediation and really restorative justice is a form of conflict resolution, and it's done in a very, I would say, professional and in somewhat peaceful way. In essence, you have, if there's a conflict, you have a trained mediator, somebody that has gone through several hours of training and done some observation period, who basically sits in and works with the parties that are in disagreement to try to come to a resolution that both parties can accept. That doesn't really mean that one side wins over the other. What it means is that you've come to an agreement that essentially satisfies that conflict between the parties involved.
I think for me, staying out of the fray is important. It's their mediation. It's not mine. They're the ones who are going to live with the decision that they make. But I commonly ask at the end of a full divorce with parenting time, is there anything more you'd like to say to each other before we break up and call it a day? Very often, one will say, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry this happened. I'm sorry we're here. I just think it's an urge, and I really appreciate the opportunity of being part of it, to be honest about it.
There's so much hope that happens in mediation, and so the volunteers see that hope, but the parties usually see it too. Now, we can't wave a magic wand and make everybody get along, but we can give them the opportunity to try and hopefully prevent further court involvement and really that continued anger and that conflict that just keeps going for them.
For me, being a part of mediation and restorative services, seeing the people who have certain positions in our community getting together and problem solving around ways that people who may be marginalized, people who may have run into trouble, who may have not learned how to stay out of trouble, how those people in different areas in the community get together and try to problem solve and help people problem solve. And that's really sometimes what people need instead of being thrown in jail or given another ticket or having another lawsuit or having another case. If there's someone who can just help them understand in plain language that maybe there's a different direction that they want to take. So having those people in the room, and that's the goal of mediation and restorative services, is to get people whole. So I think, yeah, that's restorative to me, is to, if people have fallen in the cracks, people have made mistakes, that we're trying to figure out ways that they don't stay there.
I think there are so many people who are unaware that we exist. We exist now in 4 different counties, but also that we're available. And how do you get in touch with us? How do you find out where we are? How do we know that this is a situation that we can be used for? And I can tell you from what I've heard and been a part of this board now for over a year, it's for pretty much everything. From criminal matters to domestic to civil disputes to family matters. People just need to know that we're out there. We absolutely need mediators. It's the source, that's the meat of our organization. Volunteers who have the time, who have the ability, who have the desire to help people in this kind of way. We are short on mediators. I'm hearing from those who have been mediators that they aren't the only ones who feel like they're giving. They feel like they're getting something themselves when they can help others bring about a resolution to a case or an issue. So I think our approach at this point is to say, you know what, try it. This isn't something you wake up and you say, I want to do. I want to be a mediator today, right? But I can say that the rewarding process of finding people who are actually engaged and actually get an outcome that they probably wouldn't have been before should be the driving force for someone to be involved.
To be a volunteer mediator takes a special person. You don't need to have a specific degree or background. You have to have a caring heart to want to resolve conflict in your community.